Welcome to Pacific Northwest Outdoors. My name's Chris, and this is Beefy Greenhouse Episode 2. So the purpose of this series is for me to fortify my greenhouse, which I'm standing in right now, because it wasn't a very effective greenhouse. So in part 1, I took the sides of the greenhouse, where this was windows or the plastic greenhouse material, top to bottom on the non-sunny side, and I moved that over to the sunny side. In addition to, trimming up some of the branches that were shading out some of the sun on the greenhouse and whatnot. And since then, I've noticed a decent improvement in the amount of heat inside the greenhouse when the sun is directly on the greenhouse. But at night, of course, it still has so much air seeping in here that it doesn't actually retain any of that heat, and so it gets as cold inside the greenhouse at night as it is outside the greenhouse, which means that it's not a very effective greenhouse. So, in part 2, my goals are as follows. Number 1, I'm going to replace this back wall with just plywood. So I don't want any of this plastic sheeting on the back wall because it doesn't really let any light in from this side at all. So really it's just light escaping the greenhouse through these windows. And in addition, it's just a thin piece of plastic, so it doesn't insulate very well. I want a nice piece of wood there instead. Plus, when I switch the sides, the bottom half here, I found out the boards were all dry rotted on the bottom. So I would have had to have replaced those anyways. So I'm just going to replace this top to bottom with wood. And then I want to seal it up with some silicone sealant, and then I want to paint it so that it looks nice, because I don't want just raw wood, inside as the back wall of the greenhouse. I want it to actually aesthetically be pleasing to me when I come in here. And then finally, I have some of the thin, like metallic looking insulation that I'm going to put down the sides here to not only help insulate this back wall a lot better, but also to help reflect the light that comes in from this direction, hits this back wall, and lets reflect it in a little bit, back this way, towards where all my actual plants are. So with all that being said, it's raining outside, so I don't know how much work I'll get done. A lot of this is weather permitting, and nothing to do but hop right into it.
Okay, so here's another look at the back side. I apologize for the wind noise. It is a little bit stormy out here today. It's not going to stop me from doing work, but if it starts to downpour, I'm going to have to take a break. So what I'm going to do here is I'm probably just going to remove, or try to remove, one section at a time and just replace one at a time. That way, if the weather gets too bad, I can still, if I've only done 2 of the panels, I can sort of go inside and continue the rest later. So the other thing that I have to do is create new end caps. So as you can see here, one of the reasons that this is not very well insulated is you can see right inside there. That's the inside of the greenhouse. And the reason is because the original end pieces that sort of cap this thing off, if you look over here, here's the ones that I was able to salvage right here. Those ones, that's really kind of what helps keep the corners insulated. So since I wasn't able to salvage those from the front side of this greenhouse, I have to create new ones. So I have the wood. I'm just going to have to build up some new end pieces. So first step is replace these panels with the actual plywood that I bought, and then replace the end pieces, and then do what I can to get some silicone sealant and seal up the whole thing as much as possible before we go on to painting. All right, time to get started.
Well, because of the overlapping nature of these plastic panels, unfortunately my idea to just do one section at a time isn't going to work out. So I'm going to have to do the whole thing in one shebang and just hope it doesn't start dumping rain on me. Second problem is, Boy Scout motto, always be prepared, and I've failed because my drill here is just running out of juice, and so I got to go charge it up. I'm going to have to go figure out a few other things to do in the meantime. I'll let this thing charge for about an hour, and then I should be good to go to continue. So always remember to make sure your tools are ready to rock and roll when you're doing a project like this. My bad.
is up. Everything is nice and level, securely fastened into the back with a bunch of screws, and I got these edge pieces on, and they actually turned out pretty good. Nice tight connection all the way down. And so here's the new back of my greenhouse. Next is just a matter of sealing up all the little gaps in between the edges here and on the sides, and maybe even in between these boards, but I got them pretty tight, so I'll probably just put a little teeny bit, you know, on my finger and just sort of work it in to the boards here. And then once that dries, it's time to paint. One thing I've noticed though is if you look right up in here, I don't know if you can see that. Maybe you can't see it, but there's still a little bit of a gap where air is getting through. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to seal that up. I might put a board, you know, across here, maybe just like a 1x2 or something, and then put some sealant on it on the outside or something like that. But we're a lot better than we were, and that's good because you always want to be improving, and this is definitely an improvement. All right, on to the sealant. So the painting's done. It came out pretty nice. It's been drying for a couple of days, and it's also been raining for a couple of days. This is the first sunny day we've had in a little while. So the next step is I'm going to take some of this scrap wood here, and I've measured it out. I'm going to cut it down and get it up into this little area up here to sort of block the airflow that comes in. And then I'm going to use this reflective insulation that I bought. This is just Reflectix insulation. It's 24 inches wide, so 2 feet wide by 25 feet long, and just real thin reflective insulation. I got this at Home Depot. I think it was about $21 or $22 a roll, and I got 2 of them. And I'm going to unroll this and use a staple gun to put it up here and then all the way down to the bottom to help insulate this back wall as well as reflect some of the sunlight that comes in into the greenhouse. So that's the next step. Let's get going. All right, so insulation is up. I'm starting to get my tools organized again. This greenhouse has been such a disheveled mess in the past week or so. After painting and getting the sides up and all that, I'd be happy to get everything back where it belongs and get back to doing actual greenhouse stuff. So I had enough of the insulation for all 3 back panels, and then I even was able to do this side panel here and this side panel here. So that worked out. That was about all of the insulation that I had. It feels really warm in here right now, but it's probably just because the sun's beating down. Yeah, it says it's 57 degrees outside, 83 degrees inside. So the next thing I have to do, and this will be part 3, is to get all the little wood pieces that fill up the slats here, or the holes in this plastic greenhouse roofing. So I've got this stuff here, and that sort of fits in. There we go, and that sort of fits in, and I got to do that all the way around. But right now I only have 1 piece. I only bought 1 because I was testing to see if it was the right size, and it is. So I'm going to get a bunch more of those, and I have to do all the way along here, all of these. So I'm going to have to get all in here and in here. That's going to be fun. I got to take the whole roof of this thing off. And then of course all along there, and then all along the floor across the whole front. The last thing I noticed as I was on the floor cutting this insulation is that there's a good amount of cold air coming up through the holes in the floor too. So that's going to have to be figured out. And also, if you look at the doors here, let's see if I can get you up there, they don't quite seal. So they've got this piece of weather stripping here to kind of seal it, but it doesn't really, it's all flimsy, it doesn't really work that well. I'll probably have to replace this and then figure out what to do about this gap here. But I'll just keep pecking away at it, and eventually I will have a very functional greenhouse. I think this was a really good first step though, so I'm happy with the insulation. It was really easy to work with too, so I definitely recommend it. And there we go. Hope you enjoyed it. Now it's time to clean up.
Hey everybody, this has been Pacific Northwest Outdoors. My name's Chris, and if you liked the video you just saw, please click the like button. I would really appreciate it. If you'd like to see more videos, please click subscribe. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day, and cheers.